Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. You know, it's hard to believe that inflation is still a thing, but boy, it sure is. And that's exactly why Mint Mobile still gives you premium wireless for just $15 a month. Well, it's also because we have that offer printed on, like, 1 million t-shirts, but it's mostly the inflation thing. So give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months required. New subscribers only. Renew for 12 months to lock in savings. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See mintmobile.com.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
This week, we analyze the remarkable marketing skills of Taylor Swift. She has regained ownership of her master recordings, convinced Apple and Spotify to pay artists in a more equitable way. She defied Hollywood. She markets her music in very surprising ways and holds over 70 Guinness World Records. The marketing of Taylor Swift. This week on Under the Influence with Terry O'Reilly.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Ho, 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 guys. Welcome to day 6 of Heavy Metal Tones Adventure. This is Christmas Eve, coming out on the 24th. But at the moment, it should do. It comes out 24th in Australia. It might come out a bit sooner or after, wherever you are in the world. But it's Christmas Eve here. And as I said with the last episode, I've got some interesting stuff I want to talk about. What do I want to talk about Christmas Eve? I want to talk about what I'd like for Christmas. And it's not the usual. You know, it would. You know, I'm not going to say peace on earth and goodwill to all men, and because that's all taken for read, isn't it? For written. What I'm going to say is this: live touring, people, is what I want back. Yes, it was a good year last year. We got some post-COVID lockdown gigs in. As I said, very first day of the week, we had the Thin Lizzies. I've had Stephen Hackett. You know, I've had it's too many bands to name been out, which has been fantastic. But I'd like, honestly, please, if you're listening around the world, we in Australia are a big market, and we are not the arse end of the world anymore. We really are not. You know, Maiden, please come back. And it turns out now that we've lost the legacy of the Beast tour. We're never going to see that now here. You know, which really sort of grinds my gears a bit, to be fair. It's not their fault, you know. They have a schedule set years in advance, and when COVID fucked everything up, I get it, I really do. But come on, man, if you're in Japan, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, whatever, Brisbane. You know, not Perth maybe, but Brisbane. So pull your socks up, guys. You know, there's a big market here ready for that. That said, also, some of the more interesting acts I'd like to have it out here via a good festival. Would that be nice for a Christmas present in your stocking, right? You know, like a proper download, not a download headlined by some dweeby, awful shoegazing, you know, faux gothic band, you know, that we've been shoved down our throat for the last couple of years. Come on, let's have a decent headliner. You know, it doesn't have to be Maiden. It was going to be Ozzy last time he got sick. And that happens. Hey, God gets sick now and again, right? But, you know, a big band, something, you know, and Metallica, for instance. I'm not a huge fan of the later iteration of the band, but I'd see them live again if they headlined a gig. You know, I know that Slipknot's coming out with the Knot Fest, but the rest of the bands on that lineup are pretty poor. in my opinion. Nothing really rocks the boat, and even then I'm not a huge Slipknot fan. I never have been, to be fair. So, something, I don't know, you name it. Maybe, Priest out again would be great. They could headline. People say they're not headlining Black Material anymore. Yes, they bloody well are. I don't know, just something interesting. Let's have a black metal festival here. Let's get King Diamond out. Let's get Batushka out. Let's get Crypta out. Let's get some of those cold Northern Hemisphere bands over here in some sunshine and watch their black and white face paint melt. It'd be fun, Get out Behemoth. They were brilliant last time, but they only had them for half an hour. That's my Christmas. That's what I'd like as a Christmas present. When I wake up Christmas morning, to be an email saying September next year, download, and it's not just that. And it maybe. And you know what? A 3-dayer, like you get in Varken and Hellfest and download. It's such an unfair thing to say that we in Australia are not a market that is big enough, because that's absolute crap. Because that festival a couple of weekends ago, the one in Sydney, the one with the silly name, 80,000 people there. I know that, yes, there was a lot of sort of, punk bands and sort of soft kiddie bands on there, but there was also a good mix of heavy stuff. Sabaton apparently had a massive audience. Benji couldn't even get a t-shirt. He got there well in time and it was sold out. All I'm going to say is the market's here, guys. So for Christmas, guys, why don't we all put our collective thoughts together, put out those brainwaves and think, hey, let's get a decent festival. And I'd pay we pay the money. I'd as my dear old dad would say, I'd pony up the cash. Shut up and take my money, as they like to say. There are plenty of huge bands out there. Obviously, I do love the underground scene, and I'm going to really enjoy the smaller acts, and you get more, and sometimes you get more out of them. But for these festivals to survive, you need the bigger acts to come along, don't you? To come into the country and do stuff. I'd like a prog fest out here. Can you imagine Stephen Hackett, Peter Gabriel, and then you could put on the same festival, you could put on Marillion, Fish, Pendragon, could do it. Then you could have on the second day, you could have a metally progressive day, with Near Oblivious Scaris and Opeth and Caligula's Horse, and there's so much you could do. It's fantasy, isn't it? It's just fantasy. A punk festival would be great out here as well. Some of before they all get too old, have some of those British punk bands, 999, GBH. Obviously, sadly not Exploited, because Watty's just had his third heart attack, so he's not going anywhere soon. I hope he pulls through. And our thoughts are with his family. A big fan of this Exploited, and I'm really sad for him. You could do that. You could mix it with some of the Aussie punk bands. Like I said, you could get the Saints reforming. Well, that wouldn't be quite the same. Radio Birdman, all that stuff, as I mentioned in the last episode. But yeah, that's my Christmas. So Christmas Eve, when I go to bed and if I'm making that wish tonight, close my eyes tight and hope for a really good year of live music, because that really, to be honest, we can jibber jabber what we want about albums, we can eulogize what we want about movements and genres and musicians, but really it comes down to the core rock and roll of live music, the experience that it gives you, the euphoria, the togetherness, the emotional outpouring, the moment where the guitarist hits that one note and you look to your mate as if you've just it's like the most sexual thing you can have without taking your clothes off. And I think truly it's a wonderful thing. And so maybe we should just try and get that more. Now that the COVID is sort of bubbling over, we all know we're going to catch it again. We all know it's going to be there, but it's not going to stop us doing stuff. And I think 3 years in, this is the key now. It's just the way it is. Rock and roll will always, the flame of rock and roll is much brighter than the the coldness of a virus to stop the world from listening to and enjoying live music. So that's my Christmas wish. So this Christmas Eve, when I wake up tomorrow morning, what I'd love to hear is that. I'd love to hear that, hey, Maiden are coming with Priest and Slayer, even though they've, not with this, they've disbanded, but hey, they might just reform for this one gig, God, it would be lovely if people like Gary Moore and all those were still alive, but hey, it is what it is. Those that are still with us, let's keep enjoying them. Come to Australia, guys, please. We're not that far away. Yes, it's a long plane journey, but if you're going to do it as part of the rest of this part of the hemisphere, if you're going to go to South Africa and you're going to go to Japan, you're going to go to New Zealand, hey, might as well just do it. Right? And you'll sell a fuckload of t-shirts, a shitload of tickets, and you'll have so much fun because this is one of the most enjoyable countries, if not the greatest country on earth, outside of my native England. I love this country, and it rocks hard, man. It really does. Anyway, that's for me now. I'll talk to you Christmas morning. Bye for now.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
This week, we analyze the remarkable marketing skills of Taylor Swift. She has regained ownership of her master recordings, convinced Apple and Spotify to pay artists in a more equitable way. She defied Hollywood. She markets her music in very surprising ways and holds over 70 Guinness World Records. The marketing of Taylor Swift. This week on Under the Influence with Terry O'Reilly.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.